evening, friends. Welcome back to Dozen Cats. Tonight, this is a Dozen Cats Chats. That's me, and that's what I do, chat. And tonight we're going to be talking about healing. And Ron's going to share some of his healing journey. I'm going to share a little bit of my healing journey, and then hopefully we can have an interactive conversation, ask questions. This conversation in particular is super important to me, and I want to just briefly share a little tidbit of a story as to why it's so important to me. So when I came to this community, I didn't know that you could come in to a chat and ask questions and get answers and guidance and love and support. And when I realized that, it was phenomenal. And I kept hearing people say, you need to let it go. You need to release it. You need to forgive. You need to let it go. You need to release it. You need to forgive. And I thought, okay, great. How do I do that? And I was never brave enough in the beginning to ask that question. And then all of a sudden one night, I was in the right frame of mind. I felt safe and comfortable in a particular chat on a particular show where they were talking about all kinds of things. And I just blurted it out into the chat. And the people on the screen were kind enough to spend like 10 minutes and break it down in a way that I could understand it. And so my hope tonight is that by us sharing our stories and the people in the chat, along with us interacting with each other, that we can maybe give someone a tip, someone a helping hand, someone some support in a way that you can walk away from this and feel like you're one step closer to being able to achieve whatever goal it is that you have in terms of healing. So with that being said, welcome to my friend Ron from Ron Runs Unconditional Love Tarot.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. I stuck Ron's link in the chat. For those of you that don't know who Ron is, please show him some love. I see that Callie Healer is here and she has subscribed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And NJS55 is here and Linda Kelser is here. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us. So I met Ron in the chats. Ron was like moderator in chief, and I used to see him in many different rooms. And then I found out that, you know, he does a show, and I went and I watched, and I thought, oh, wow. His healing journey, from what I heard him explain, seemed very similar to mine. And I would like to go out on a limb and say that that is one of the reasons why I feel so connected to Ron, is because I feel like our journeys are similar in that respect. Not that the circumstances are similar, but the journey was somewhat similar. And he has a heart of gold. And I think that for anyone that watches him or has heard him on other shows or even sees him in different chats, I think that shows. I think that comes through. And so I couldn't think of a better person to have here tonight to have this conversation with. And I see that JR says, look at the Canadians together.
Yeah, we're both Canadians. Not in the same province, because here we call them provinces. You guys in the States, you call them states.
Yeah.
Okay. Different states. Here, I'm in Quebec, and Kelly's in Ontario, which is near.
We're neighbors.
Yeah, we're neighbors.
We're neighbors. We're about 12 hours apart, but we're neighbors.
Yeah, it does take a long time to go to Toronto.
Yeah.
At least 9-10 hours, I think, but not anymore because the highway, more people with cars now, so I guess.
Absolutely. Hi, Sylvia. Okay, so we're talking about healing, and I thought that this was interesting. So I went on to, Google, because it can be our best friend. And what I thought was interesting is this. So what is the healing journey? So if you went to Google and you looked it up, What is a healing journey? A healing journey can bridge suffering and helps to gain resources and skills and connections that are sort of outside of yourself. Those bridges will then evolve over a course of time in fits and spurts, right? So things will start clicking together, and then you could be like a little bit stale, and then it starts to click again, right? So it requires a lot of persistence and a lot of patience. Over the course of that journey, what you're doing is you're developing a sense of safety and trust within yourself to be able to get to the point where you can breathe easier, meaning that the pain or the trauma or the hurt or the forgiveness or whatever it is that you are trying to heal is not in control of you. You are in control of it, which I just think is a great way to sort of start. Hi, Akila, B24. Oh, thank you, MK Karen. I love you right back, my friend. Okay, Ron, what do you think, like in terms of healing journeys, right? What do you think is like the most important thing that someone could hope to achieve besides the healing? What do you think is something that is like, you know, really significant in terms of achieving or being on a healing journey?
Well, all this stuff about healing, it's not an overnight thing. It takes time. And it takes baby steps. I call them baby steps because there's always some friggin' thing in your face that comes to your face and makes you feel like unworthy or unacceptable, or you're not accepted by society, and you feel like you're nobody. Like really a nobody, like really.
Yeah.
And the most important thing I got out of this healing journey, which took me years, by the way, it took me years because
Yeah.
I was so brutally abused that I had programs in my little head, which I absorbed when I was a child, and they stuck with me all these friggin' years and repeat. And I didn't even know, I wasn't even conscious about that. And I learned I was an empath and I was very sensitive. And I took everybody else's goddamn energy on and their problems. And I had a big heart and I tried to help them, but I got screwed over with that
Yeah.
at the same time. So the most important thing that I got out of it, is after all those years and after all those sufferings and after all those whatever, I'm still going through. I'm still doing something. But the most rewarding part that I can talk about is being and feeling and living comfortably in your own body.
Yeah.
That's the conclusion of it. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you do have those little moments of space where you feel, oh, geez, what a feeling to be who you are, accept who you are, and also being able to express who you are and have all these like-minded people in these chats accept you for you, who you are. It's the gift of life right there.
It is.
Okay?
Truly.
That's the only way I could put it. Okay? But I didn't know if I was worthy of it. I didn't even know if I deserved it. Why? My self-confidence was down the drain because of childhood. My faith in human beings, others were, the trust issues. And how did I come about that? Well, I did a lot of stuff. And I tried to get psychics, or what do you call it? Not psychics,
Psychiatrist.
Psychiatrists. Yeah. Don't worry, I'm French. Sometimes I the words, okay? And get help. shit, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't understand goddamn thing. The only people that understand things, what I've been through, is people like me,
Yep.
people that've been through stuff.
Yep.
And it's got
When I went to the therapist, the first therapist or the first I've gone to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a therapist, all kinds of, and one of them, like the very first one, she's like, "You seem really angry," and I'm like, "I am angry, but I'm not angry because I'm have an anger problem. I'm angry that this is happening to me, and all I'm getting is lip service. You know, people saying like, you should relax, you should do this, you should do that. Here's some pills, take those." And it's like, no. You're not hearing what I'm saying to you. There's a problem, right? I just want to acknowledge that JR said that Tina Turner passed away. I did see that earlier
yes,
today.
that was one of my favorite singers since I was young. I even
Yeah.
had the friggin' what do you call that? They're on tape.
Yes. Oh, the 8-track. Yeah. Or the cassette.
Eight-track.
The
Oh
cassette.
wow!
Yeah.
I used to listen to it.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah, she you guys should look it up. Her biography is amazing. She is quite a formidable woman. And I'm not even talking about her musical career. I'm just talking about, speaking of healing journeys. You know, she was abused and and became such a force to be reckoned with. So, hi, Jan's Free. I want to say that where my healing journey. So two things that Ron said there, right? One, I do these little segments here called journal entry. So it's something that I was journaling, and I thought I need to share this because this is important. Sometimes we become so focused on the outcome or so focused on the goal that we lose sight of the beauty of the journey, right? And since I just want y'all to know, I'm going to be crying my eyes out throughout the whole throughout the whole time. When I was diagnosed with the anxiety panic disorder, I went from having, you know, what I classified as a perfectly contented life to not being able to leave my house, being afraid to take a shower, you know, and you know, it really does take a hold of you and shakes you down to your core. And so what I have hoped for the last, you know, 12 years, almost 12 years, is that level of contentment that I once had. I wanted that back desperately. And that has always been, I mean, not like I put it on a card and stuck it on the wall that was my goal, but that was what I told myself every day. I want to get back to contentment. And so I was doing this journal entry, and all of a sudden I was saying this kind of thing, right? And all of a sudden I realized I have it. Like, I'm tearing up already. Because I was so focused on trying to get it that I didn't check in with myself from time to time to realize that it was actually already in the works, that it was actually already happening. And what a disservice I did to myself by not allowing myself to recognize the fact that I'd already achieved that. But I tell you, friends, when I did achieve it, when I did recognize it, when I did realize it, what a life-changing moment that was. Like, so powerful. I was on top of the ceiling for quite a few weeks because of that little moment. The second thing I want to say to what Ron was saying about the trust. Specifically for anxiety, like, my stomach is in knots constantly, right? And so I don't trust my gut. I don't know if it's my nerves, if it's my anxiety, or if it's like my gut telling me. And I used to trust my gut. My gut always guided me before, or at least I would like to think that it did. That's my recollection. And doing this tossing of the cards, the oracle cards, the tarot cards, people asking for a private reading, asking me questions, should I get a dog, is my grandbaby going to be okay, like MK Karen did? You know, when you guys come here and you ask those questions, you're putting your trust in me, and I have to put my trust in spirit. And so that process has allowed me to learn to trust myself again. And that's such a gift, powerful gift, powerful gift. And I'm happy to report that, like, I do. I put it all out there. Like, I don't even think about it anymore. I just do it. And I want to say to anyone who's going through a healing journey, anyone who is trying to, walk away from a bad situation, or anyone who's trying to like release or let go of something, or maybe it's a forgiveness thing. If you feel some sort of way, you got to trust that. You got to listen to that. Don't you think, Ron? Like, you really got to listen to that. Mm-hmm. Don't shove it down. Don't stifle it. Don't tell it to go away. Tomorrow's a new day. I'll be fine. You need to acknowledge that so that you can start to figure out how you navigate it. And however which way you navigate, you need to have faith and trust in that you are doing instinctually what you need to do for yourself.
And I know something about people that, for me, since I was abused when I was a child, I wanted to be loved, accepted, and honored for who I am, uniqueness I am. And guess what? I found it years and years later. Where? In these chats on the YouTube. That's where I found it. And I believe that every one of us want to be loved, accepted, and honored for who we are uniquely. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what you do in life. Just to be who you are. And I'm talking about the language through the heart.
Yep.
Okay? And when you can make people feel that they are accepted, that's where I was accepted in these like-minded. There's like-minded people in these chats. We all come together. We all support each other, and we all feel the healing energy that comes from the heart. Because it's a language of the heart. It's not a language from, oh, I know more than you, or I'm better than you, and all. No competition. No going, well, I'm this and that. Oh, you're wrong. You're right. This stuff got to end in this world. Yeah. That's what screwing everybody's head up, and everybody,
You know what it reminds me of in the chat? It reminds me of when you're standing in the supermarket.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have this there or not, but we have these, like, especially at Christmas time, we have like a 24-hour store. Walmart's open for 24 hours, and you go to sleep on a Friday night, and when you come home from work, and then you wake up at 3 a.m. and you're like, let's do our Christmas shopping now. And you go to Walmart, and, the store is virtually empty, hopefully. And then you go to the checkout, and there's like one cashier, 19 cash registers, one cashier, and there's like a lineup of 12 people. And you're all standing there at 4 or 5 in the morning trying to like outsmart something. It's totally stupid. But the point is, you start having conversations with these people. You don't know them. They're complete strangers. And yet, before you know it, you're all wishing each other a Merry Christmas. You're laughing. You've got smiles on your faces. You're sharing the chocolates that you bought that you were going to put in, the kiddo's stocking, but you decided to break it open because you were hungry. Whatever. It's that infectious, impromptu sort of connection that you have with someone that is totally unexpected, but beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I want to say, I've used this analogy before. I love analogies. I'm my father's daughter. What can I say? Imagine when you go into these chats that you're all holding hands in a giant circle. Imagine the power that circle has. Now imagine a broken person, a person that's going through a divorce, a person that's just suffered a loss, a person that has like had the worst day ever with their kids or their pets or their coworkers, comes into that chat. The person comes in and says, you know, it's my mom's birthday, or it's my birthday, or it's the anniversary of, you know, my wife or my husband's passing, and everyone starts to say, you know, blessings and prayers sent to you and thoughts and happy birthday, and emojis are all over the place. The power that that has should never, 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 never be mistaken for anything more than, you know, just a miracle within itself, because we are strangers to each other, yet we feel like this intricate piece of machinery that sort of, you know, keeps the engines going. Do you know what I mean? And it's such a beautiful, magical, and so powerful, so powerful. Like the chat saved my life. I firmly believe that. The different chats, like way before I started my channel.
I know what you mean, but because I had an experience, and if you allow me
Yeah,
to share that,
absolutely. Hi, Jay.
because
Hi, Joan.
you're talking about people holding hands. I was in a motivation reunion, put it that way.
Mhm.
At least thousands of people, I think, at least 1,000.
Mhm.
And they said they gave us each a candle, and then they closed the lights and light up, and you should feel what we felt when we lit up. Like it's like one candle lights up, and then another one, then another one. How much light comes out of it? Each
Yeah.
person having a candle coming
Hmm.
together. I never forgot that thing. I never forgot it. How that's why I'm so. I always talk about that we should unite. Everybody should unite together, not divide ourselves. Because what creates division is that we point fingers. You're not accepted. This, that, 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 that. You're not like me. Blah 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 blah. And people start. I've got. I'm right and you're wrong. All this crap is going on. That separates people.
Yeah.
Um, what unites people is everything that comes from the heart. That has a love energy. And I mean, we're born with it.
Yes.
We came here with it, and it's up to us to share it for the benefit. It has to be to serve humanity and not against one another, because
Yeah.
that's not love. Okay. Okay, I'm called a Ron Unconditional Love because for people that don't know, I had near death experience. And the first thing that came in mind, what name do I give my channel? Ron Unconditional Love Tarot. It came in about 10 seconds. I had it. So, yeah.
Thank you, Kelly Healer. Um, but you
Mhm.
are unconditional love,
Yeah.
and um,
We all are. Okay.
well,
We all are.
100%, hundred
Like
percent.
we have it in our soul, except it's not exploited like it should be,
Yeah.
because we were programmed to go one another against each
Yes.
other.
Yes.
Okay, because of society,
Hmm.
because of everybody, even our parents. When they raised us, they raised, well, somebody does something, you get it. You know, that's how
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
taught that, which
Or
is
like, you know, you come home and you got a B, for example, on a test, and they're like, "Why didn't
yeah.
you get an A?" You know,
Oh,
that kind of thing, right? It can be something totally simple like that. You hear that, you know,
mhm.
every day for, you know, 20 years, and you start to get a complex that you are never going to be good enough, you're never going to be smart enough, you're never going to achieve your goals. You know what I mean? Like, it can really mess you up. It's
And besides, I was raised by two alcoholic parents, and that's pretty hard for a unique son. I'm a unique son, no brothers, no sister, so I took all the crap, and it was really, really hard to survive all that. What saved me was nature, going in nature, saving my sanity, watching life go on with birds and animals and all that. That saved me from going wacky, wacky,
yeah.
wacky. Even though I was told by a doctor, my mom brought me to a doctor, and he said, "Your son is 5 years behind everybody else." Why do you think I'm 5 years? It's not because I'm stupid. I was called stupid on times, but I mean, it's because emotional baggage I had was so strong that it overtook my whatever, like everybody else. But I was so overwhelmed by negative energy,
Yeah.
it almost took me away, like really physically and mentally. So
That point that you make, I think, is so important when okay, because I don't know that everyone actually recognizes that you need to, deal with something, or that you're carrying a burden or a hurt or a pain from the past, right? You don't always know it. One day you just wake up and boom, there it is. Something has happened that has triggered all of that stuff. It may not have anything to do with it,
mhm.
but your reaction to that situation. So for me, my mother was sick for 2.5 years. Now, I'm not going to say I was okay, because that would be a lie. I wasn't okay that my mother was dying and fighting for her life, but I was handling it. I was doing what I needed to do, and I was handling it. Now, when I look back at a few months, probably starting around Christmas time, my mother passed in March, I could see that there were some signs that I was anxious. I didn't know that then. I only know that in hindsight. So after my mom passes, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. Okay. And there I am, January the 8th, putting the Christmas tree away, listening to Christmas music, dancing around, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I feel dizzy. I have a fear of being physically ill, and the next thing I know, I'm being physically ill or feeling like I'm going to be physically ill. Then I feel like I'm going to pass out, and I'm by myself. And then, the sweats and the shakes, and my throat closes up, and my heart's beating under my chest, and you literally feel like you're going to die. And if someone had have told me in that moment, or in any moment, for probably the next year, that me taking down the Christmas tree was triggering something that happened from way back when, I would have said, you're cray. But what it did was this. I wanted to get through Christmas. It wasn't that I was sick that day. That's when I had my first panic attack. Thanks, Mark. You're really helping. So the point that I'm trying to make is I didn't connect the dots. And, oftentimes we don't connect the dots. And from my own personal experiences, when I went to the therapist and the psychiatrist and the psychologist, they want you to find your trigger. It's important to find your triggers, yes, but you could get so caught up on trying to find your triggers that you actually can do a number on yourself because you can't figure out what your triggers are. And so I want to say to anyone out there, all of a sudden one day you wake up and you feel some sort of way. Something has happened and you are aware of it and you are feeling low. You are not feeling yourself. You're not feeling vibrant and happy and positive. And you, through a course of different, events, come to the realization that you're carrying a burden. So what do? First thing that you should do, go see your medical professional, right? Doctor, therapist, someone of that nature. So that you can sort of subside any out thinking, something's wrong with me, like I'm sick, I'm dying, that kind of thing. Don't stifle it down. Don't ignore it. What I'm saying is acknowledge it. Anxiety, for me is about fear. It breeds fear. It lives off of fear. And procrastination, so pretending like it's not happening, burying my head in the sand, nope, I'm fine, everything's great, everything is okay, because humans don't like to admit when something's wrong with them. That is a form of stress. And so I was in this vicious circle where I was constantly adding more pressure, more stress to myself, because I wasn't recognizing that I needed help. And when I did need help and I finally bit the bullet and said, okay, fine, and I went to the doctor and I asked for help, I got a whole bunch of this. Well, your mother just died, here's some pills. Mm-hmm. Well, your father's dying, here's some pills. Well, you're angry. Well, all you need to do is just relax. And so the point that I'm trying to make is, if you have something, acknowledge it. How do you do that? Well, you can do journaling. Journaling is a great way to allow yourself to express your emotions where you can see them. You can take them, the emotion of those thoughts in, and try to process them. When they're on a piece of paper, they don't seem judgmental as they do in your head. You don't have that negative voice sort of retaliating every point that you're making. You can go back and refer to it and keep checking on it. It's a great way to clear out your mind and allow your mind to sort of calm itself down and make space for new thoughts by putting it onto a piece of paper. And sometimes it I don't know if this is the right word, but it makes you feel more organized somehow. Like it organizes your thoughts in a way that it doesn't feel so cluttered in your head. Mirror work is great for trying to get a hold of your emotions. If you're feeling like, low self-esteem, child trauma issues, body image issues, abandonment issues, mirror work is great for that. Meditation is amazing if you can do it, to take yourself to a quiet place where you feel recharged and rejuvenated, where you allow yourself to get quiet and just hear yourself from a non-judgmental standpoint, right? Ron has something that he did that I think is amazing, and with your picture, share that, Ron, what you did there. Hi,
well,
Terry.
Before I show the picture, I want to talk about something about. Okay, I was saying a while ago, my life was raised by two alcoholic parents. Now, when I got away and grew up and became on my own, I used to blame. Oh, if my life is all screwed up, it's because of that. It's because of this.
Course.
I blame the alcoholic parents. Blame my stepfather, who's really jackass, like the fucking, excuse my language, but devil in disguise. He's a little bit like 45. He what nurse. I don't know how to say the word.
Narcissist
To the third degree, like really bad. Okay, and being sensitive like I had, I used to say, well, if my life's all screwed up, it's because of that, because of this, because of that. I was blaming everything on them, and I couldn't understand anything about why my life was all screwed up. I kept blaming them, and I kept getting suffering more and more.
Like, why is this happening to me, kind of thing?
Until I realized something. What the hell? I realized it's like thinking out of the box, but I had to do the work inside, not outside, or trying to or see somebody to explain the goddamn thing. Nobody explained to me this. Alcoholics and drug addicts, what do they do? Why do they drink? Why do they take drugs? Because they have a goddamn issue.
Yeah.
Right? And why do they do this? And when they are around people, why do people around them suffer? Because they want you to suffer with them.
Yeah.
and they want to project everything on you in a certain way, and and then you got to understand. Now we're coming to forgiveness. Oh my God, that was a hard thing to do, because in the state I was before, blaming, you can't forgive anybody. You just blame.
Yeah.
You can't get there.
Yeah.
You'll never get there until you
Well, when you when
understand.
you when you
Until
blame,
you
yeah,
understand the process of, well, to get to that point, you got to stop blaming stuff
yeah,
and understand
yeah,
why these people do that and why this one, or this one did something.
yeah.
It's
It's
their issue.
I think it's like a defense mechanism. Like for me,
Yeah.
it's a defense mechanism when you blame someone else because it's like, for example, when you
It's
say,
easy to do that. It's easy to blame,
of course, it's
but it's
not
harder
easy
to
to
understand.
take it's not
It's
easy
harder
to
to
take
understand.
responsibility, right?
It's harder to understand. So,
I just want to add to what you just said, and then I'll give it back to you. It's like the difference between saying these two things.
yeah.
Well, I'm really trying, really, really hard. I'm really trying, or I'm doing it.
Hmm.
You got to own it. That's what it is. You got to own it. But not everybody, and I try as hard as I can to make this point. If you heard or hear nothing else that I say, this is the most important thing, I think. It is okay. It's going to make me cry. It's okay that you don't know or that
Yeah.
you blame someone else. That's okay. You will get to a point when you are ready to accept, when you have hit the bottom, right?
Yes.
When you
Yes.
can't deal with that situation or those circumstances or that level of hurt anymore. When you get to that point, you are ready to grab a hold of the reins and make a change for the better. And only until you're ready
Can you do
will
that?
the work actually be beneficial.
Yes.
And that's okay. For all those people that say to you, well, being happy is a choice. Yes, it is. It is a choice. But not everyone understands that the choice is actually something that they have control over. So please don't punish yourself if you're not ready to accept that you have the power to change it.
But that's the point that I'm talking about. Once I understood that these people had issues and alcohol, I understand that, and then I understood that I had to stop blaming everything about my life and throwing it back at them. It's all their fault. It's all their fault. And all of a sudden, I once I understood that, I started releasing. I started deforming the friggin' programs that were spinning around and around and around and around.
Yeah.
Okay, how I did that? Well, like Kelly said, I started. I said nobody taught me self love, which is very important for every individual, every human being on this planet. You, you, we all expect, like, okay, we're waiting for everybody else to love us, but we don't love ourselves. We're not even feeling good in our bodies. We're not comfortable in our
Right.
bodies. And you expect somebody to love you, because when you feel that way, it's like love is running away from you.
Right.
Really is. And and guess what? We're all creators. So we create this atmosphere. But if we change everything around and we start with us, okay? Start with you. The first thing I did, I said, Jesus, nobody taught me this stuff. I took a picture of when I was 9 years old, and that's the picture she was talking about. That's me when I was 9 years old. Okay. Now I don't know if you guys, this is old picture. It's coming apart. But I took this picture, then I did this. I love you. That child inside of me felt it, because I really, truly starting doing that. And the more I did it, the more I got out of my shell. It's like a freaking prison, like a self prison, which I created. Okay.
Yeah.
Because of not understanding what life was all about. Life goes on inside you, not outside of you. What's going on outside is not it's not you. It's somebody
Exactly.
else. It's the whole freaking thing around you. But that I started accepting myself, and I started having more confidence in myself and faith, even though I've been tested like crazy.
Yeah.
even even if I have my own channel and things like that, I've been tested, really
Yeah.
tested by other human beings, because they're not where I am. They're
Right.
still in their what I call the ego stage. It's
Yeah.
still there and hanging on around there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say everything that comes from my heart. I'm being who I am. I'm not trying to be anybody else but who I am. And that's where, when you are who you are and you being who you are, no matter what, then you start feeling comfortable who you are and accepting who you are.
Yeah.
That's the love, self love that's coming through.
Yeah.
And when you get that, it seems that people are attracted to you and you get
Yeah.
support, you get love from everybody else. Okay.
Hmm.
My life changed when I started doing that thing. And also meditation. You mentioned meditation.
Yeah.
The meditation, I did hours and hours of meditation, an hour at a time there. I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Wow, that's
And
a lot.
that's a lot. But all of a sudden, I started being aware of the friggin' little beliefs in my head. I'm talking about beliefs, these little programs. And I said, where the hell did that come from? Oh my God. And then I saw the whole, it's like a film or a picture, a movie. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, that thing is that's creating suffering for me. That's not good for me. I realized there was a good friggin' program. And where did that come from? Your stepfather, or this person did something to you, or this person in the past did something to you. All these friggin' programs were planted in my head, and I wasn't even aware of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm a very sensitive a person, and my cellular body, cells in my body, have memories, and I think that is in there, and you don't even know it until you become aware. Thing I, c- uh, the only way I became aware is by doing meditation. The
Yeah.
only way, okay, because this friggin' thing kept on going, trying to take control, trying to control everything.
Yeah.
And I realized you don't control nothing.
Yeah.
It's a flow. If you go with the flow, you don't suffer. If you don't go with the flow, you suffer.
Yeah. It for me, I mean, to that point, but for me, it's all about control.
Yes.
Um, and it's funny because like I when I went one time band camp, when I went to, one of the 87 doctors that I went to, um, trying to find the good fit, um, they're like, you have a control problem. Bye, Melinda. Good to see you, my friend. Much love,
We
blessings.
all we all have that because
But
we
that's what
we,
I'm
we
saying.
were
Like,
taught we were taught to control our lives. You don't control nothing. The
right,
universe.
but when okay, so where I was going with that is this: like when someone says to you that you are controlling, you immediately get defensive and you go to the negative, right?
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
think, well, yes, I have to control my 6 children and my job and my home and my responsibility. Like, you know what I mean? I think control equals balance, and now you're telling me that I'm like, an arsehole, and everyone is like, can't wait for me to leave so they can all talk about me. You know what I mean? But so because I was in a negative mindset, I took it in a negative way. Well, if you are in a situation like Ron was saying, like with his parents being alcoholics and abusive to him, that is his environment. That's what he knows. He doesn't know anything different. So if something comes at him, he takes it the way he was taught to take it. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very much a control thing. And so I just wanted to add that little point. If someone tells you that you're a control freak, don't freak out. It's a coping mechanism. Like, why do children of alcoholics end up becoming alcoholics, statistically speaking? Because it
Most
is
of
a
them do. Yeah.
defense mechanism that is familiar to them because of the environment that they were brought up in.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on one other thing that I think is important, and that is this. For anyone that is dealing with, a situation where you may feel like you have regrets or you're going through the woulda, shoulda, couldas. If someone has passed in your life or someone, a relationship broke up, whether it was a romantic or otherwise, or you went to the local block party with your neighbors and you just like lost your mind, with someone that you wouldn't otherwise. Those burdens that you carry because you harbor those resentments, right? You pack them down and put them in the dark, deep filing cabinet within you. That's about forgiveness, and that's about carrying burdens. And for those of you that know what the 10 of Wands in tarot looks like, I want you to keep that image in your mind, right? That's the person that's hunched over carrying, the big pack of like sort of twigs on their back. In more cases than not, those burdens that you're carrying are not yours to carry. They have nothing to do with you. You are taking on other people's stuff and being weighted down by other people's stuff. ... to forgiveness, because that's what comes next. Now you are standing in a position where you have to forgive the situation, not the people, the situation, so that you can move past it, so you can free yourself from holding on to that excess weight. I call it the turtle phase, right? So you're holding on to all the weight and you're like this, your head is inside your shell. And when you start to let go, all of a sudden you're like, oh, look at me. I'm not a turtle anymore. I don't know what this is, but it's not a turtle, right? Your head pops out of your shell. And it's the truth. I literally had someone say that to me a couple of years ago. I went to the store, believe it or not, friends. This is when I was still leaving my house. I went to the store and I ran into someone that I hadn't seen in a couple of years. And they said to me, oh my God, you look great. And I'm like, thank you. Doesn't everyone want to hear that? And then they said to me, because my shoulders weren't by my ears. And I was like, what? I was like, that was random. Anyways, I went home and I said to my husband, this is what they said to me. And he said, that's weird. Then I said it to myself, and everyone I said it to is like, well, that's because you were walking around like this. When you're tight and you're stressed and you're carrying that burden, you hold yourself. And I didn't even realize I was doing that. So when they said that to me, it didn't make any sense. Anyway, I digress. So getting back to the forgiveness part. It's the situation, not the people. And if you can think of it in those terms, it can assist in the forgiveness sort of process. So think of it this way. We'll use my ex-husband, who is no longer here with us, so we can't say anything negative, really. It was not a great situation, and I really held on to that for a very long time. He messed me up. He emotionally messed me up. He mentally messed me up. And I waited 20 some odd years for one conversation so he could tell me why. So to say that I carried that for a long time is an understatement, because I couldn't forgive him. He did it to me, right? Like what Ron was saying about the blame thing, right? He did it to me. Yes, he did it to me. But that wasn't my fault. It's not like I stood there with a sign over my head and said, yes, please choose me. No, that was him, his problem. And when I shifted that thinking and started to think of it in terms of, you know what? You know what? You know what? Okay, this is what's going to happen, right? Here's me and here's him. And he tried to do that to me, put me under his thumb and manipulate and control my every movement. And I said, no way, no one's ever going to do that to me again. Reclaim my power. Now look at me. I'm ready to go. I'm fine. I'm whole again. I did it almost from a place of like, I got mad at it almost. I'll show you type of thing. And I'm not saying that that's the right way to do it. I'm just sharing what I did. I found that it was much easier to be able to forgive when I thought of it in a way of, I am not going to allow that person or that situation to steal my power, because I am stronger, I am better, whatever, than that. And I have spent enough time thinking about it, enough time sort of, harboring that feeling, and I'm breaking free. I'm done. I don't know if that helps anyone in terms of processing forgiveness, but when someone shared that with me, that was the moment where it was a breakthrough for me.
Well, for me,
I can.
my stepfather did a lot of freaking things, but it took a long time because I actually waited. I didn't wait on purpose. It just happened. He passed.
Right.
Then I went through all this blah 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 like everybody else, but I had to learn about my energy. What is really my energy, and whose energy is this and that and that. When I
Right.
went through all that, then one day I said, even though he's on the other side, I told him, you got to take back all your issues. You dumped it on me. I'm not taking your crap anymore. I'm taking back my power. And all of a sudden, I could breathe.
Yeah.
And when he passed, I tell you something. When he passed, I told my mom that also. I said, Jesus, he passed, and I feel lightweighted. That's like it's like I'm like a bird going through.
Yeah.
I felt high like that, like the weight was off my shoulder
Yeah.
because I always had some sort of worry that he would come and find me and do something in front of my wife.
Right.
That that would that would have provoked something because for somebody, I admit, okay, I admit, I'm gonna say it that if he would have said one word to my wife, really, and I was because I get all this stuff in my energy,
Yeah.
my body. I think I would have killed him right there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how because I want to protect my wife. I don't want you to use my wife for a punching bowl or all your shit and come at me. You did to me, you're not going to do it to my wife. So
Exactly.
okay, but he passed before that happened. So anyway, but I did face him when I was 14 years old because he wanted to put a hand on me and I said, "You lay a hand on me, I'll kill you, son of a bitch."
Yeah.
And he never he is a bully. Okay, what a bully does. And I mean, I was about 80 pounds. He was almost 280, 250 pounds.
Mhm.
I was a kid. I was Jesus, a little guy. And I told him that. And I saw him back up
Right.
because he could see in my eyes that I meant business.
Right.
And I can tell you something about how you feel when you're in that state. It's like you have the power of three men inside you.
100%.
The emotion is so strong and the energy is so strong that I think you go through a friggin' door, a house, and anything. I
Yeah.
think because, and I didn't like it because it overtook me. It really did overtook me until I got, whew, oh my God, my heart was pumping like
Yeah.
this. Like, oh wow, it's like the whole body is involved. The
Yeah.
whole soul and spirit is involved. But he backed up because he got scared like crazy when I
Yeah.
did that. And he never laid a hand on me, but he did some stuff after that. And to mock me or something like that. And I just looked at him, I said, "You son of a bitch," and I put him back in his place
Right. Yeah.
after that. But I don't want to hang around with somebody like that because he makes me sick. He's toxic. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I had to go through all these years, and finally, I got to release him when he passed. But I felt all lightweight. It's like he took a whole building off my shoulders.
Right.
But that, yeah,
Well, first of all, I mean, thank you for sharing that with us. And second of all, that
yeah.
raises a really a good point that I think is helpful to people, because a lot of times we put up with people.
So much.
We put up with people because we don't want to hurt their feelings, like your grandma or your uncle or like your dad or your mom or your sister. We put up with like the boss at work who's nothing short of being abusive. There are ways to handle situations, and you should never be afraid to speak your truth. Now, I'm not a dingbat. I I watch the news, I watch programs just like y'all do, and we've seen how, like
With
the
me, I was going to say, I
like
was going
what
to say,
45 has been doing about Eugene Carroll, for example,
yeah,
is horrific.
yes. With
But
me, I wanted to explain it was the fear that kept me down. And when
yeah,
I faced it like that, the bully
yeah,
back, way back. I mean, really, I had never forget it. Okay. It's
yeah,
like I took my power in whatever seconds it was. I took
yeah,
my power. Just a little guy, 80 years, 80 pounds facing
yeah.
a monster like that. And it was the fear. When you get out of the fear, man, are you so powerful? You wouldn't believe
It
what
is a very
it is.
powerful thing.
Okay.
It is
So, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
So where I was going with that is we all have those people in our lives that we try to coddle, or we try to toe the line for, or make adjustments for, uh, that we wouldn't otherwise do because of familiar connections or whatever the case may be. And that's okay if that's how you choose to handle a situation. Like, that's the beauty of a healing journey. You can work within certain parameters at certain times, as long as you navigate it, meaning that when it starts to become too toxic, that you back up, you know what I mean, and that you readjust.
Mhm.
The whole purpose of the woulda shoulda couldas, well, I should say something to Bob. Okay, let's use my ex-husband. Okay, I don't know that I've ever shared this before. So my ex-husband and I separated, and we weren't divorced yet. And I thought I could do it on my own, and life was going to be great, and I'll show him, yeah, not so much. Didn't work out so great for me. I had 2 jobs. I couldn't afford an apartment. So I had a trailer, and I stayed in my trailer during the summer so I could have an apartment during the winter. I couldn't afford to go to the laundromat. I couldn't afford cable. I was washing my clothes in my tub. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. It was a challenge. And one day out of the blue, he called my mom's house, and then we talked. One thing led to another, and he wanted me to come back home. He wanted to try to make it work. He wanted to try to make it right. We went so far as we went to my mom's house, who was not a fan at all. And there he sat at the head of my mom's dining room table with my mom and my sister and I there, tears coming down his face, saying how much he loved me and how sorry he was for all that he had put me through. And so I went home and I packed up my bags and put my wedding rings back on, and I thought, okay, I'm going home. And the day that he was supposed to come and get me, I sat waiting. The time that he was supposed to come and get me passed. And so I called. And I'm like, is everything okay? And he said, paybacks are a bitch, and hung up the phone in my ear.
Yeah.
Because I hurt him, because I left. So, I tolerated him and his abusive family for years. And I could have continued to do it. And I just decided, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to announce it to the world, although I just did. They're all on the other side now, so it's safe to do so, I feel, for the purposes of this chat. But the point that I'm trying to make is I put boundaries up, and I removed myself from that toxic situation so that I could not be affected by it any longer, because I had given so much of myself to trying to please them. And that's where I was going with it. When you have those situations, you have a tendency to try to make them like you more, right? So you like sort of like throw yourself at them.
You become a victim. You victim
Yes.
yourself. You're the victim, and you put yourself in that.
Yeah.
In a way, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Without you being aware of it, and then you realize, what the hell am I doing again? Why am I doing this stuff? Why am I accepting this shit? So that's why.
Yeah, 100%. Hi, Valerie. Hi, Amanda. Yeah. So the reason that I share that is not because I'm trying to make my ex-husband look bad, or me to look bad or good or whatever. It's just, we all have those circumstances and situations in our life where we put up with people's behavior because they're related to us, or because, we think that, it would upset the balance of the family if we didn't. There are ways to handle situations, but if you feel that you can't, handling it within yourself is a great way to do it. And my point only was to put up boundaries around yourself. Try to understand that that is their problem, their opinion, their judgment. It's got nothing to do with you, right?
Mm.
And so you can't allow them to hold that kind of power over you, right? Or at work. Yes, absolutely, Amanda.
Yeah, there's another thing that happens when these people passed. They have life review, what's called life review. So every friggin' thing that they did to a person, they'll feel every feeling, the hurt. They'll feel it all. So in reality, karma is a bitch. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
So, whether you're here or on the other side. So
yeah.
So, I mean,
listen, we all got to do things to help ourselves, because,
yes,
as much as I love my husband, and as much as he is my greatest sense of support, I can't wait for him to do it for me. I can't expect him to do it for me. I got to do it myself. And I'm 50. I don't even know how old I am. I'm 57 or 50. I'm 57. Yeah, I'm going to be 58. And I still struggle with it. I still struggle with sticking up for myself. And then I have Quincy, so no one's going to mess with me. No, Quincy just sort of came right in the moment. So the point that I'm trying to make is this. Just remember that while you're going through any kind of situation, especially while you are navigating a healing journey, or just starting to figure out that you need to heal, to be kind and considerate and patient with yourself, as we said in the beginning, to trust yourself, to love yourself, as Ron said. Protect yourself in terms of not judging yourself, right? No matter what you did, no matter what you said, no matter what your reaction was, you can deal with it like step by step, but not in a judgmental way. Because adding blame or shame or trying to attach some kind of you did a bad thing to that scenario is not going to help the healing journey at all.
What you're talking about is self criticizing yourself,
Yeah,
because your mental, what when you've been a victim so long, you got this attitude of, oh geez, I suck, or geez, I'll call it all my fault again, or something like that. You criticize yourself, so you have to become your best. Actually, you are your best friend. You
yeah,
just don't. Okay,
yeah,
don't make yourself your worst enemy,
yeah.
because you can put yourself down like nobody else can. Okay.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I listen. I used to say all the time, like I used to make it okay, right? This is something I literally used to say. Well, that's okay if I said, something judgmental about someone else because I'm sure it's not nothing they haven't said about me. I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. And what I mean by that is this is like somehow when you're hurt, you want to lash out at other people and it's sort of it doesn't make you feel any better, but you think that it's somehow gonna take the pain away. Like I'll show you, right? Um, that's not what this is. This is
But
this
actually,
is
when you do that, you're actually asking people to suffer with you, because you're
yes,
putting. That's what you're asking. You might
totally,
not know invisibly. That's
yeah,
what is happening. Okay,
hundred
you want
percent,
to suffer. Jesus, I'm suffering. I want so much love. I want you to pay attention to me.
yeah,
I'm suffering. I'm suffering, but I want you to suffer with me.
yeah.
And this
I
is
love what you said here, Amanda. Amanda says that she struggles with authority figures.
yes.
I do have authority over myself, however. Um, See, now that's interesting. I don't know how old you are, Amanda, but I'm going to make a blanket statement here. Certain generations, like my age category, Ron's age category, we were brought up to have sort of a fear element when it came to
Yeah.
listening to authority figures or our elders, for example, and
Yeah.
there was like an element of just sort of given respect where that the younger generation, I don't think they think that same way. And so I think that I have always had that fear. You know what I mean? Like I get pulled over by the police, your speeding ticket or whatever, and it was like I committed a murder. Like I think I would react the same. You know what I mean? Like I would panic completely.
One
um
one of my fears I had, because I remember as a child, I grabbed my mother's leg. No, please, please. I didn't want her. She said something to me. Well, something about whatever is going on. I don't know. My emotions were so overwhelmed,
mhm.
and she talked about psychiatrist, no, a psychic. What do you call it? A room where mental people go.
Yeah.
I was scared that she would do that. And I pleaded with her, don't do that, don't do that. And she scared the hell out of me when she did that one time. She talked
Oh,
about it. I never forgot that. I
yeah.
grabbed her legs, it's like, Jesus, I don't want to go there, because I know what I had the feeling what they were doing, electric shocks and all this shit. And you think, oh, you're crazy. No, I'm not crazy, but
Right.
people think I'm
Right.
crazy, and they send you there. That's what they did.
Yeah.
Okay. Or today, what they give you pills that make you wham, go right off your rocker, and
Mhm.
they're not helping. These psychic words are crazy, and that's how I went through all these fears, one after the other. My stepfather, my mother saying stuff like that, and I hung on to these stuff. Okay,
Mhm.
when you go into life, when somebody does something, it triggers just like that, boom, right in your face. Oh, you're just like my stepfather, you son of a bit. And it really, it, sometimes you get these images and you're
Yeah.
not seeing straight. You really, get caught up in this stuff. Yeah.
Yes,
Anyway,
Faye. Sorry, Faye just said I'm 66 and we belong to the generation of children are to be seen and not heard 100%.
yeah, they told me to shut up. I
Yeah.
can't shut up anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it's interesting what you say there, Faye. So,
Yeah.
well, I'm sharing a lot. So my mom's husband, not my father, used to live across the street from us when my parents were married. And when I was just a little girl, and he would come to the house and he would say, "Oh, you're still awake? Get to bed." And I can tell you that I watched him being escorted and physically put outside of our home for coming into our home and telling us to go to bed. Like we were no relation to him. He had no business to do that, but he thought that he could because of that of what Faye was talking about. And I guess that's kind of what I was talking about too, right? We were brought up with, the fear of God in us, like you don't disrespect your elders, you don't speak back to your teachers or police or whatever. And
even Catholic Church, you go in there and it's blah 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 blah. This, and you used to come to a house to ask for money, and this the priest we had anyway when I was young. What he's a real hypocrite, like say these things and then turn around, ask for money, then buy the same color of car, but a new year, so that people would know what the hell is that they did that. So and also abuse children. So so you know what I mean. So.
Well, and that's it, Callie Healer. Like I have a perfect example of what I'm trying to talk about or what I'm trying to say. And I don't know why I'm all about conversations about the ex-husband, but it applies. So the night we got married, we were we left and we were going back to get his stuff from his parents' house and my stuff from my parents' house. To go on the honeymoon, right? And anyway, it's a long story short, but somehow I managed to lock myself out. So it took us a while to get into my mom's house. And while we were leaving, my stepfather, for all intents and purposes, was inviting people back to their house from the wedding. And then when they got there, we were still there. So then, of course, now we're all talking and you know how it goes. Anyways, now he's in the hallway giving my husband the who's who and the what's what. And he's drunker than a skunk and saying to him, like, how dare you invite all these ingrates to my house? And we're like, we weren't there. It was you did it. And my mom was in the hallway going, like, just say you're sorry. Just, So we literally stood there and apologized for something that had nothing to do with us because we didn't want to cause a problem. Mm-hmm. That was the kind of thing that happened all the time. All the time. And that's what I was referring to, right? That you'll take it in the chin or, suck it up and, take one for the team, that whole kind of vibe. That builds up so much resentment. It can, it can lead to hate and anger issues and all sorts of things when you don't allow yourself to speak your truth. Now, again, like I said, maybe you don't speak it to the person. Maybe you journal it, right? Maybe you go for a walk and, you're yelling inside your head, a whole bunch of expletives that we can't say here. Do you know what I mean? Like just to get it out of you. The point that I was trying to make is pushing that stuff down, no matter what it is, the more you push it down, the harder it is to feel free from it. Do you know what I mean?
It comes back like a volcano.
It's like a boomerang. Yeah, it's like a boomerang.
And sometimes you don't know where and how it's going to erupt.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you say, the hell, yeah.
That's a great way to put it. It is like it's like an explosion.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, friends, for anyone that's gone through it, no matter what it is, when you have that realization moment When you have that moment where the fear is so real that it literally stops you in your tracks, you're not going to ever forget that.
No.
You're not going to ever forget it. So if you check in with yourself on a consistent basis, if you make time in your schedule to love yourself and, pamper yourself and let your inner child out every once in a while, I think that you stand a really good chance of sort of knowing what you need and being able to provide that for yourself, which only helps to navigate the journey just a little bit easier. Like when the obstacles and the challenges are in front of you, you sort of bounce back from them a little bit easier than you would if all of a sudden you just wake up one day and go, oh shit. And you've got 40 years of repair work ahead of you.
There's another thing that happened. I'm talking about in my life. I had guns in my face and knives, ready to die because my stepfather is stuck in my face because of his drinking and everything. It's
Yeah.
funny. I was very scared, like really, really scared. I mean, all that stuff, scared like crazy. But um, that thing repeated itself later on in adult. And I'm not talking about my stepfather. I'm talking about an event where I was working for this guy. We're a bunch of people working for him. We were stuck in a motel because we were on the road, so we had to stay in the motel. So there was at least, I think, 15 of us. So something happened that day, and the boss, so he come in and started talking to us, and rah rah rah. I was with another guy, so the other guy first, and then me. Now everybody was in that room. He's sitting behind his desk, and he pulled the friggin' gun and put it on the desk in front of me. I looked at him. I looked at the gun. I said, if I can grab it, I'm going to stick it in your fucking face. And he. Then I realized I had no more fear of it. So I had whatever I had fear when I was a kid, when things would happen. The fear, I didn't have it anymore because I faced it right there. Boom. And
Yeah.
he saw it. So what he did, he grabbed the gun, he put it in the back of his drawer before I could get my hand on it, because he saw I wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
But why did it happen? I guess that's the conclusion or the end of it, the end of the cycle. I don't know, that I had to go through it. I had to face it again, face to face,
Right.
and he put it away. He put it
Well,
away.
because you called his bluff. You took control
Yeah.
of the situation, and he obviously his expectation was that you were going to cower. That's what he
Yes.
hoped for. That's what he wanted, and you met the challenge. Faye has just said here, I have finally let myself free. My family has all left me. I haven't seen or heard from them in years. It is somewhat difficult, but I had to.
Of course. I
Um,
understand that. I really understand that. Yes.
yeah, it's so tragic, and the thing is that you know we can talk about it till the cows come home. It doesn't make that painful reality any less.
No.
Whether you love them or you don't, whether you want them in your life or you don't, it's still such a nonsensical step that has to be taken in a lot of people's cases. And I commend you because I know that wasn't easy for you to do, but you did it anyway. You did it in spite of, and that speaks so loudly about your strength
Courage.
and your
Courage.
courage. Yeah.
Yes. And she's a strong person to do that. You have to be strong enough uh, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually to do that, because you are seeing things way beyond what you know.
Yeah.
You're like awakened. You're awakened,
Yeah.
okay,
Like you
and
loved yourself enough to walk
that
away.
that energy with your family is toxic, and
Yeah.
it's not good for you, you're at that point. So I'm 10 times up, 100 times up,
I
because
know, that's
I
amazing.
know you had the courage to do that. So it's not easy to do,
No.
because you expect your family to love you and be part of your life.
Yeah.
When it's toxic like that, mm-mm, it's not
And
good.
it's sad. There's so many people that have that situation.
Yeah.
That is their reality. Um, and again, that brings us full circle to what we said in the beginning, and that is, I am so grateful that this community is as powerful, supportive, understanding, loving, compassionate, um, as it is. It provides people a safe place, a place of no judgment, and just pure kindness. And I don't know about you guys, but there's not many places that I know that you can go to and get that without having to do something to prove that you're worthy of that first. You know what I mean?
But we're all survivors, and we're all here.
Yeah.
There's a reason. There's a higher reason, universal reason, name it, whatever you call it,
Yeah.
why we are all coming together in this chat, whether it's my chat, whether it's Kelly's chat, but all these people coming together. There's a reason, there's a connection way beyond, and it has a higher uh, for the by by coming together, we're helping each other heal and actually raising the vibe of the earth.
That's right.
Okay, put it that way. And it comes from our soul, our spirit, and through our heart. Okay,
Yeah.
the rest, no matter what you got, whether it's like me or not like me, or it doesn't matter. What counts is the healing process that we're going through when we come together,
Yeah.
because that's the love, the sharing, the support, and the knowing that you're accepted and honored for who you are. You're worthy of that love. So
Absolutely.
yes. So,
It's like the pep in your step. You know what I mean? It's like the sun sort of shining, and I'm not trying to be ridiculous when I say that, but it's like you're doing it, and then all of a sudden someone turns around and says, you know what, like you're going about your business, you're navigating your day, right, you're doing your best, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you hear from someone that you haven't heard from in a long time. Someone pops in and says, wow, you look really nice today, or you know you have like a certain glow, but and your whole mood, your whole day, sometimes your whole week totally changes and shifts. And that's what this chat does for me. That's what
yeah.
it did for me when I was in the chat. That's how I would like to explain it to others if I could, how powerful it is, because it's like this collective ball of energy that just dropped into my pocket. You know what I mean? And it's like it's mine for a couple of hours. Like I get totally sort of rejuvenated from it, and it carries me through for a little while. Do you know what I mean? Like if you've
You
had
can
any
you can
interaction
feel
with
the
that.
anyway. I can feel
Yeah.
the healing energy among you people. It's funny how I can feel it. I can feel it with me. I can feel it with Kelly. I can feel all of you in the chat. I can feel that there's something, whether you know it or not. It's just it's there. I can feel it. I just haven't got the proof, but I can. It's in the pudding. I can feel it.
Yeah.
And what you can feel, that is real.
Yeah.
The rest is illusions. Whatever you
Hundred
you
percent.
know. Yeah, because
And you know what? You know, and why not? Why
yes,
not walk? Why
yes,
not walk
yes.
away thinking that, feeling what Ron just said, rather than that was stupid, or whatever. You know what I mean? I would much prefer to walk away and feel whole and one than walk
I
away feeling
got to laugh at a story. The psychic dummy. Hello, friend. Just got here. You feel it with me, Ron? Do you feel the pudding?
yeah. Hi, Alex.
She's funny. She's got it. She heard pudding in. Yeah, Alex.
Hi, Rose. Thank you, Vivian.
Yeah.
All right, friends. So we're at like an hour and a half. That's what happens when Ron and I get together, chatting. Ron, do you have any parting words of wisdom in terms of like the healing? What you would like to say to the people? I just want to say be kind. Be kind to yourselves while you navigate. Just be kind to yourself while you navigate. Because it takes time and patience.
I just wanted to send this energy uh, to each and every one of them. If your soul, I know your soul knows about this and your spirit knows about it. Just be who you are, and no matter what others think or say, you're this or that. Don't listen to these things. Be who you are and breathe it in. Breathe it
Yes.
every moment you can. Okay, and be grateful to who you are at 100%. More you're grateful, the more you more grateful, the more. I mean, I know I was down, nothing left, not even a house, not even. Today I got more than I ever owned in my whole life.
Yeah.
It's not material life, it's the comfort, it's
Yeah.
the feeling in
It's
in my
safety.
body.
It's well, you feel safe, and you didn't
Yes,
have that before.
I didn't have that
Yeah.
because I had to bring myself to every situation because I'm the one that was had all these freaking things in my system. I had to
Right.
get rid of the toxic first, the bad weeds or whatever you call them, out. So
Yeah.
it took a long time, but even if it took a long time, whew, I made it. I made it. I made it. I'm there. It
And you're
doesn't
worth.
mean I don't face stuff right now. I still face stuff because there's other people doing stuff to me that you shouldn't be doing, but I had to
But you
deal
know,
with it.
the other point to what you just said,
Yeah.
like you're worth it. Each of us is worth putting in this effort if
Yes.
it means that we can have that sense of love and that sense of security or safety or wholeness or oneness or whatever word applies to your situation. We're worth it. We deserve to live our best life. We're not meant to be wrapped up in misery and fear and looking at negativity, bleakness for the road ahead. We're not. That's not why the sun comes out. You know.
And I believe that even for 10 seconds, there's people that would pay you millions and millions of dollars just to have a moment like that in your life to feel who you are really for 10 seconds and accept
Absolutely.
everything and feel that aha moment. It's like a
Yeah.
aha moment. It's
Yeah.
like, Jesus, I'm finally home
Yeah.
because your body is your home.
Absolutely. It
It's
is
your
your
car, it's
foundation for
your
sure.
transport, it's your home, it's everything.
Yeah.
So Jesus, make it good for
Yeah.
you. So
Get in there and decorate. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, that was.
yeah, just light up the lights like a Christmas tree.
That's it. Well, I mean, that's it, right? Like shine on. You have a light within you that it deserves to be shone and seen, and the world deserves to see it. So, you gotta get in there and plug your mini set on. You know what I mean? Get your battery charged up. Um, all right, Ron, you will be on 8:30 p.m. Eastern Saturday night.
Yeah,
Yes,
usually I'm always on Saturday. I've been
always
doing for
on Saturdays.
I've been doing for 2.5 years already. I'm still on Saturday at 8:30. So, p.m. Eastern time, by the way.
Yeah, Eastern time. So everybody run on over there to Ron's channel on Saturday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And I will be back, weather permitting, Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I may change that to 8, but anyhow, the point that I'm trying to make is Friday at the fire pit is back. That's where I sit in my backyard with the fire pit going behind me. Sometimes I'm joined by wonderful friends like Ron Unconditional Love. Sometimes it's just me. Sometimes we're tossing cards. Sometimes we're telling funny stories. You never know what's going to happen at Friday at the fire pit. So,
and crazy weather. It's 9 degrees here Celsius right now, and we're going to get 30, 31 in the weekend.
We're supposed to be getting frost. We have a frost warning tonight.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
I know. I had frost last night, so yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So all of our plants, we'll have to have a little prayer for them later. Anyways, friends, so I'll be back Friday night to do that, weather permitting, of course. If it rains or whatever, I'll just be doing cards and chat or something of that nature. So check out Ron. You can check me out on Friday. Hope you have a wonderful day and tomorrow. And I thank you for being here for this chat. Thank you, Ron. I love you, my friend, and I appreciate you sharing because this stuff isn't always easy for everyone to share. So, oh, right. And a special shout out to the fire pit producer, meaning my husband, Kelmer.
Yeah, he's the one that put the logs and everything. Yeah. Anyway,
I would love. Okay, sorry. Amanda says she would love to decorate with me, and the Psychic Dummy says my 2 favorite Canadian readers. I love it. And Jan says my body home needs a whole refurbishing. Aw, bless you, friend. Listen. I just had to order myself some new clothes because I literally can't fit into anything. So I know what you're saying. But you know what? Yeah. It's all good.
Anyway, when we share our truth about our own lives, the intention is to help other people recognize where they are, and the process of healing starts. As soon as you communicate, you just communicate your story in the chat just a little bit. And that's the beginning of the opening of the process of healing. As soon as you do that, okay? So
just remember that sometimes just saying hi to someone in the chat is literally enough to change their whole day, their week, their life, their month, whatever. It's very powerful, and you never know what someone else is going through. So by going back and forth and communicating in the chats, you can be giving a real burst of, I want to say, powerful energy to another person. So don't ever stop doing what you're doing. Ron, thank you, my friend. And with that, we will say goodnight and wish you all many blessings.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.